This is Gary Butterfield.
This is Cole Ross.
And this is Monster, my podcast.
And these are the Nioth-Korghai.
There's a monster in my podcast.
Mm-hmm. Little core guys.
Yeah, look at them.
Like, sounds cuter than it is.
Yeah, actually, these are spacefaring vampires that are fungus.
Octopuses.
Yeah.
Fungus octopuses. These are spelljammer as hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
They travel around, I think, in 50-mile long ships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're in tanks, and they possess people.
They possess people. That's kind of this is too much stuff.
Yeah,
This is too many verbs. Like,
pick a few angles.
Yeah. This is from a story called The Space Vampires, which I feel like gives you a very wide bounding box.
Yes.
And what he did with it was make them possess people, which, like, that is cool. We've dealt with that a lot on this show.
Yes.
So we don't need to go into that. And then they also can create zombies. And that's slightly more interesting because when they make a zombie, they feed from you. When you die, you become this drained husk you have to feed.
Mm-hmm.
If you feed, you become yourself again.
Right. But only for 2 hours. You have to feed every 2 hours.
And way less sane. So you're on this like sanity spiral, but you are your person. I think this is a really none of the like zombie fiction that I've seen experimented with somebody becoming their actual self.
Right.
Like in zombie fiction, it's always like, my wife is this snarling beast and I'm going to keep her alive because I need to die to do that trope.
Right.
But it's never like your wife just turns into a cognizant person and then slowly turns back into a zombie.
Right.
Like, I think that's legitimately pretty interesting because it would make keeping the people around like make sense.
It would. Yeah. Like I think it would fulfill the zombie metaphor a little bit more. Like, that would be like a metaphor for codependence. Like she becomes a monster unless I work with her to feed, and we work together because I don't want to lose her. Right.
It's just way cooler than somebody who just has like a barn full of zombies that they feed.
Yes.
Like, it's like, oh, you could actually meet the person.
Right.
We would actually fool whoever was. So in a weird way, like if they weren't in fucking spelljammer ships, like I think this is actually would have a cool hook.
Yeah.
But unfortunately they're space vampires. And that's lame.
Yep, pretty lame. Yeah. But they've got a little bit of like vampire stuff. So if you're bitten by one of them but you live, you maintain a connection to them.
Yes.
I think that's the thing that I've seen in vampire kind of stuff. And also like when one of these comes to town, it's specifically a little bit like a Salem. What's that?
Like a Cotton Eye Joe.
Bro, yeah, I didn't expect to go there, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that.
Right. No, it's a little bit like Salem's Lot, where Barlow shows up, and then all of a sudden you've got a lot of type 2 and type 3 vampires going on. Like, the outbreak does trace up to the master vampire, but you have the zombies going around doing their own stuff. Yeah. I love this at the end. The only cure for infection is running a lead object through the infected's solar plexus. This obviously kills the infected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like somebody is like, well, vampires, silver bullets. Like, I like how in this entry, like in a weird way, or reading this book, the season is exposing me to some of the, grander mythos, like other people who wrote in it. And just by looking at the monster, you can kind of reverse engineer how good of a writer the person is. Like, I think this is probably not a super great writer.
Yeah.
Based on this, like, these aren't really good ideas. That's really dumb.
Yeah.
I can just imagine the part in the thing where somebody's poring over an old tome and is like, a rod thee must be to solar plexus you must pierce.
Well, first off, that doesn't rhyme.
Yeah. Well, it's translated.
Oh yeah, of course.
But just being like, of course we have to put the iron rod in the solar plexus. And then just like going about looking on the ship for a lead rod or whatever. Like, it's just lame.
Yeah. There's a diagram of a machine that is used to banish this beast from the earth. Turns around, it's just a revolver.
It's Anton Chigurh.
Brought to you by our backers at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.